Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma. I'll be guiding you through class today. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's go ahead and get started in a comfortable seat. If you'd like to grab a block for this class or two, you're always welcome to. You don't need it, but it might be helpful. For instance, if you prefer to sit on a block or a bolster, you're more than welcome to. Depending where you are in your day, you'll either go palms face down for some grounding energy or palms face up to receive. So I kind of want you to check in with yourself here and see maybe how your energy level is at, what you're feeling, and what you might have in store for the rest of your day. So that's going to kind of help you set the tone or set the pace for your practice, depending what you need. So for instance, if this is the first thing you're doing in the morning, you're a little bit sleepy, you might go palms face up to receive some energy. If you're in the middle of your busy work day and you're taking a break, you might go palms face down for some grounding energy. So check in with yourself, take a few deep breaths in and out. Do that again. One more time, big breath in your nose. Open mouth. Now seal your lips, big breath in. Out of your nose, exhale. Gently contract the back of your throat. Turn your palms to face down if they're not already and start to circle out your neck. Just go one direction to start. Pause anywhere that feels a little sticky, tight, or tense. And then go the other way. Next time your chin is to your chest, pause there. Sink back, like you're trying to almost roll onto your tailbone. Straighten your arms as you grab onto your knees, pull your chin towards your chest. On your next inhale, pull your chest forward, shoulder blades together, look up. Exhale, round your spine, sink back. Again, inhale, seated, cat pose. Exhale, seated, cow pose. Or just kidding, I got that opposite. So as you inhale, it's seated, cow pose. You're arching, pulling your chest forward. And as you exhale, now you're rounding and sinking back. This is your cat pose. Let's do one more round. Meet back with a neutral spine. Plant your fingertips behind you. Broaden your collarbones, puff up your chest, lift your chin, maybe even drop your head back. We're gonna take a lion's breath. It's a big breath in, tongue out. Feel that stretch on your throat and then bring your head back up. Switch your legs out so the opposite shin is in front. You might kind of wiggle your butt back a little bit so you can sit up tall. Stretch your arms up overhead, lengthen your waist. Bring your left hand down, extend your right arm up and over. So stretching through the right side body, roll out your wrist. Then hold still, extend your right arm, inhale. As you exhale, reach your right arm forward and across until your right hand is off the right side of your mat and you can sweep your left arm up and over. Roll out your left wrist. And then hold still, extend through your left arm, inhale. Exhale, sweep your left arm forward and across until your right arm can extend. Big inhale. And exhale, down and across. Working into the sides of your body, inhale. Move with the pace of your breath. Over to the left, right arm reach. Over to the right, left arm reach. Back through center, walk your fingertips all the way forward. Wiggle your tailbone back. I like to prop up on the fingertips. Find some length through the waist. Hollow out your armpits. Walk your hands back just a few inches. Cross over your ankles and find a tabletop position. Stack your shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees. Let's go ahead and draw a big clockwise circle with your hips. So push your hips off to the right towards your right heel. Bump your hips over towards your left heel and then bring them forward. All the way, big clockwise circle. To the left, forward, to the right, back, to the left, forward, switch directions. Go back to the left, right, forward, over to the left, go back, right, forward, over to the left, go back, right, forward, and find a tabletop position. Walk your hands forward and place your forehead on the mat. Press the tops of your feet and ankles down. If you'd like, you can grab the front of your mat and imagine pulling it forward. Feel your inner thighs spiral back. Arch your back a little bit. Flip your tailbone up. Maybe you bring your chin to the mat if you have space for that. Melt your spine in behind your heart. Tone your belly. Then slide all the way forward onto your stomach. Grab a Sphinx pose. Shoulders over elbows, tops of your feet press down. Firm your thighs, plug your shoulders back. Your gaze is forward, somewhat of a neutral cervical spine. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips up to a forearm plank. Look down, neutral spine. Make sure you're not piking your hips up in the air. Pull your hip points forward towards your ribs. Hold here, squeeze your legs, breathe. 3. Always count on your breath. 2. 1. Lower your hips down, untuck your toes. Lower your chest and slide your hands back. Push down and roll up to a cobra pose. Feel free to move around here. I like to rock the hips side to side, look right and left a little bit. Maybe roll out your neck. Get any kinks or weird sensations, tightness out of the way. And then we'll meet back in center. Grab a child's pose. Knees wide, forehead down. If you practice Ujjayi breath, this is a great time to become aware of that. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Make your breath the first thing you hear. So if you're playing music or if you have other stuff going on in the background, try to make your breath the first thing and maybe even the only thing you're hearing. Although I do like to listen to music when I practice, so the music can keep playing in the background. Let's walk the hands over to the right. And over to the left. Walk your hands back through center. Inhale up, tabletop, and right back to downward facing dog. Feel free to move around here, pedal your legs, sway your hips, or shake your head out. Again, depending where you are in your day, this will feel totally different. So if this is your first down dog, this is kind of your first movement of the day, things might feel a little tight. Be gentle with yourself. If you're towards the end or maybe middle of your day, you might feel more space in your body. Try to move your breath into any areas that don't feel awake or they just feel kind of sleepy still. Lift your heels up, keep your legs straight. Roll yourself all the way forward to a high plank. Now I want you to bend your knees, push your belly back to your thighs, bear pose. So heels are lifted, tailbone lifted. Now just straighten your legs, your hips lift up a little higher and roll yourself to a plank again. Push back, bear pose, belly, thighs, outer hips lift. Straighten your legs and roll yourself forward to a plank. Do that again, bear pose, straight legs, roll forward plank, bear pose, straight legs, tippy toe your feet towards the front of your mat. Take your feet out nice and wide, about the width of your mat. Bend your knees a lot. Anything you like to do with your arms. You guys know I'm a huge fan of opposite elbows. I like to feel that kind of melting of the shoulders, complete release of tension. But if there's a different arm placement you like to do, hands behind the head is nice. Even bind your hands is great. or just keep your hands on the floor and find some movement. If you've got a grip like elbows or a bind, switch so the opposite arm or opposite thumb is on top. Always feel free to bend your knees in a fold. I actually would encourage it. That way you can feel more length through your spine. Head heavy like a bowling ball. And release your arms. Slowly ragdoll yourself all the way up to stand, maybe adding a little sway as you get there. When you come up to standing, roll out your neck, your shoulders. Keep your feet out nice and wide. Squeeze your legs, lift your toes, and then very slowly and gently put your toes back down, but try not to grip. Inhale, stretch your arms up, waistline in. Exhale, side bend to the right. Walk your right hand down your right leg, extend your left arm up and over. Firm your glutes, squeeze your right oblique. Inhale, stretch your arms up, palms touch. Exhale, side bend over to the left. Walk your left fingertips down your left leg. Inhale, come back up through center. Bind your hands behind your back. On your inhale, lift your sternum, lift your chin, look up. Bend your knees as you fold inwards. Keep that bind, relax your neck. If the bind doesn't feel good, you can always grab one of your wrists and rest your hands on your back. Squeeze your upper thighs and your low belly. Release your hands to the mat, lift up halfway. Plant your hands and step back with your right foot, then your left foot. Take a chaturanga. Your knees up or down, especially on this first one. Bend your elbows back. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Either way, squeeze your legs, roll your shoulders away from your ears. And exhale, let's go back to downward facing dog. Spread your fingers out. If you feel a lot of pressure on your wrists, grab some blocks under your hands. That should help a bit. You can always take the hands a little wider than shoulders so you have space for your neck. Spread the shoulder blades, pull your ribs in, tone your belly. Bump your heels behind your ankles a bit, even out slightly. That way you can feel your thigh bones, your inner thighs pushing back. Lift your heels, look forward, step right foot, left foot to the front. Your feet touching or hip width, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. Squeeze your legs but light toes as you rise, reach up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Cactus arms, lean back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Lift up halfway. Hands down, left foot, right foot, chaturanga. Cobra or upward facing dog. Finish your inhale, then go back, downward facing dog. Feel the balance between effort and ease here. Firm your thighs, tone your belly, and push into your hands. The more you do that, the more stretch you get. You feel that length on the back of your body, your calves, your hamstrings. Feel that length through your spine, and imagine breathing up and down your spine. Lift your heels, look forward, step, left foot, right foot to the front, halfway lift, sternum forward. Exhale, fold. Rise, reach, look up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, center, palms touch. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Cactus arms, lean back. Shoulder blades squeeze. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Hands down, step or jump back, chaturanga. Follow the rhythm of your breath. That will set the pace for your practice. There is no rush to get to the next breath or the next pose. Try to keep the breathing even and full. Maybe in and out through your nose, ujjayi breath. If not, breathe out of your mouth. Just try to keep it even. Lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump to the front, halfway lift, and forward fold. Bend your knees, reach your arms up. Sweep your arms back and make a bind. So you're in a Utkatasana with a bind. Sink the weight into your heels, tuck your chin in towards your throat. I want you to lift your heels up, push your ankle bones forward. Do your best to keep the bind. If that becomes too much, bring your hands to heart center. I want you to tip your weight forward like you're crawling your ribs down your thighs. Keep your heels lifted and then work to straighten your legs. You're looking down at the floor. Again, if the bind is too much, feel free to bring your hands to heart, or at this point, you could even bring your hands to the mat. Keep your heels lifted. We'll all meet with the hands on the mat. You might have to walk your hands a little bit forward to keep your heels lifted. That's okay. So you're in a forward fold with the heels up. Hug the ankle bones in. Now, let's go ahead and try a crow pose. Bring your knees towards your armpits. You don't want to go outside the arms, go on the backs of your arms. Look forward, grip a bit with the pads of your fingers, maybe lift one or both feet up off the mat. Try to bring your feet together to help you engage your lower abs and your inner thighs. When you're ready, let's step or jump those feet back. Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog, and exhale, go back to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, open your mouth and let it go. Again, deep breath in, and sigh. All right, drop down to your knees, grab a tabletop, bring your knees together and feet together. Tuck your toes and take a seat back on your heels. Now, if you have any injuries in your feet or ankles, avoid this pose and take a hero's pose instead with your toes untucked, maybe even sitting on a block. But if it's just uncomfortable, stay in the pose and sit with it. I like hands to thighs, eyes closed. It should not be the most comfortable pose ever. It should be challenging. I want you to be in this moment, sit in the discomfort, and know that this too is temporary. Soon you will be out of this pose. The bottoms of your feet will feel awesome, and you might forget all about it come tomorrow or later today. But right now, feel the stretching, the uncomfortable, maybe slightly painful, and open your eyes. Cactus your arms. Take your left arm underneath your right arm, eagle arms. If that ever doesn't feel good, grab your shoulders. Now we'll get some relief. Lift your hips and push them forward. Keep your toes tucked and step your right foot forward. Slow as you can, right foot stepping forward. Now I want you to lean your weight a bit forward into your right heel. Start to drive up to stand and bring your left knee up in front of you. Take your left leg up and over your right leg, Garudasana, eagle pose. You can use your toes as a kickstand or double wrap your legs. Either way, notice your torso wants to turn to the right. So I want you to tug your left hip crease back. Lift your triceps slightly, steady gaze, inhale. Exhale, drop your elbows towards your knees and round your back. Choose a spot on the ground to focus your gaze. Now the challenge here is to keep your arms as long as you can. Unwind your legs and dive your eagle beak towards the floor. As you do this, think of a little twist to the right. Plug your right hip back and push the ball of your right foot down. Tone your low belly and point your left toes. Breathe here for 3, 2. Hands on the mat, 1, standing splits. Kick your left leg up nice and high, fold, fold, fold. Step your left foot behind your right foot so your ankles are crossed. Walk your hands over to the right, maybe even pop your left heel up off the mat. All right, we've done this move before. I want you to walk your hands back through center and keep going to the left. As you keep going to the left, lift up onto the balls of the feet, spin on your heels, and you're now facing the back of your mat. Adjust your feet so they're hip width. So you're technically at the front of your mat, but you're flipped around. Take your peace sign fingers and grab your big toes. Inhale, lengthen, sternum forward. Exhale, fold. Pull your elbows out and back a little bit. Firm your legs. So squeeze the thigh muscles onto the thigh bones, even if the knees are bent. Elbows out and a little bit back. Sink the crown of your head. Flip your tailbone up for 3, 2, 1. Keep your right hand where it is, but release the pose. So right hand stays there. Take your left hand to your waist. Put a little bend in your knees as you come up to stand on your left leg with the right leg out in front of you. Now, if you've got the big toe, great. If that feels pretty wobbly, go ahead and grab the knee. If you've got the big toe, make sure you plug your right shoulder back. So if you were standing up with a wall behind you, both shoulder blades would be on the wall, not just the left side. Whether you've got the knee or the big toe, take your right leg out to the right. Tuck your tailbone towards your left heel. If this is going well, look up to the left. Hold here and breathe for 3, 2, 1. Bring your right leg back through center. Reach your arms up and extend. Float your leg. Squeeze your right leg. Now you can either point or flex the foot. Just make sure it's active. Slowly dive your hands down to a standing L. Standing L. Walk your hands all the way forward and crunch your right knee over to your left elbow. Kick your right leg out. So we're not going fallen triangle just yet. I want you to kind of sink your hips down. Keep your hips square towards the mat. Feel that nice stretch in your outer right hip. Then fallen triangle. Lift your hips up, spin your left heel down, and extend your left arm. Make sure the right shoulder is over the right wrist. Place your left hand on the mat. Hug your right knee into your nose. Squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Step your right foot forward. Spin your left heel down and open up to a warrior 2. Line your right heel up with your left arch. Soften your shoulders. Gaze over your right fingertips. Straighten your legs, reverse triangle. Reach your right arm up and back. Squeeze your legs. Push the ball of your right foot down. Come back through center and grab a triangle pose. Reach your right arm forward and down. I like to grab the shin or a block. Make sure your right shoulder is over your right wrist. Pull your bottom ribs in. If it feels okay on your neck, look up at your left hand. If that's going well, you might extend your left arm towards the back of your space. Keep squeezing your legs, firming your glutes for 3, 2, and 1. Skandasana at the front of your mat. Bend deeply into your left knee and flex your right toes. Now, lots of options here, but focus on the external rotation of the right thigh. So that means if you have to pop your left heel off the mat, that's totally fine. But I don't want your right toes flopping in. I want the right toes pointing up. Squeeze your right leg. If that's going well and everything's good, you can take your right peace sign fingers to your right big toe and fly your left arm. Look up at your left arm for 3, 2, 1. Tip it forward, wide legs, forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. Line your fingertips up with your toe tips. Feel your weight roll a little bit forward and imagine your hands trying to slide your mat forward. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. Imagine lifting the arches of your feet. Lift up halfway. Walk towards the back of your mat. Left hand down. I want you to roll to the outer edge of both feet into kind of a sunrise lunge. You'll drop your left hip towards the mat. Extend your right arm so it's parallel with the left leg. All 10 toes are pointing to the long edge of your mat. Then drive down into your right heel and the outer edge of your left foot. Push your hips up. Extend your right arm up and over. Feel that nice big stretch through your outer hips. Now you've got a few options. Right peace sign fingers can grab your right big toe. And you can take your right leg up into a Vashisthasana side plank. For another option, you could grab your right knee or place the bottom of your right foot at your inner left thigh. Now, if this is too much on your left wrist, you can drop down to your forearm. Whatever you've got, hold there for 3, 2, step your right foot behind you. If it's available, wild thing. Keep your left shoulder over your left wrist. Push your hips up for 3, 2, 1. Flip it back around and grab a pigeon pose on the right side. Slide your right knee up behind your right wrist. Sit up somewhat tall at first and then hinge forward. So don't just directly flop forward. Find some action. This should be uncomfortable as well, but not painful. So if it's painful, especially in the joints, back off. If it's uncomfortable, good. Try to sit with that. Soften your jaw. Keep your breath even in, even out. 2 more breaths. Walk your hands back towards you. Slide your right knee more towards the center of your mat. Slide your left knee up behind your right knee. Kick your feet in opposite directions and then drop your butt back. Gomukhasana, cow face pose. If Gomukhasana doesn't work out, you can always extend your bottom leg and take Ardha Gomukhasana, or you can take Agni Stambhasana, fire log pose. So either your knees are stacked or your shins are stacked, but either way your right leg is on top. Try to get your right sitting bone on the mat, whatever you're doing. Now, my preference here is to grab the feet, keep the right sitting bone down, and just try to sit up tall. For me, that's challenging enough. You do have the option, though, to lift your right arm up and over, left arm down and under, make a bind. Again, I prefer just to grab the feet, but you go where it feels good for you, where you feel enough sensation. Focus less on how the pose looks and feel more into the outer hips. If it's uncomfortable, breathe with that. Can you feel that discomfort slowly melt away, even if it's just like 2%, 5% with every exhale? One more breath. All right, whatever you've got with your arms, let that go. Walk your hands forward. Drop your knees back down onto the mat, same way we got in. Just unwind your legs so you're in a tabletop position with the knees together, feet together. Toes tucked, take a seat back on your heels. Now don't worry, we already did the uncomfortable part here, so I'm not gonna have you hold this foot stretch again. Just cactus your arms and take your right arm under your left arm. Again, if that's too much, grab your shoulders. Lift your hips and press them forward. This time, step forward with your left foot. Keep your right toes tucked. Feel heavy through your left heel as you slide yourself forward and lift your right leg up in front of you. Take your right leg up and over your left leg, Garudasana, eagle pose. Pull your right hip back to help square your hips and shoulders. Grip less with your left toes, become heavy through your heel. Take an inhale. Exhale, drop your elbows towards your knees and shift your gaze down towards the mat. The goal is to keep your arms like this as long as you can. When you need to, you can release your hands to the mat. Unwind your legs and dive your eagle beak towards the floor. Think of a little twist to the left, elbows slightly forward. Point your right toes, plug your left hip back. Push the ball of your left foot down, squeeze your belly. 3, 2, 1. Hands on the mat, standing splits. Drop your head, kick your right leg up. Step your right foot behind your left foot, crisscross your feet, and walk your hands over to the left. You can always bend your knees here or pop your left heel up off the mat. All right, walk your hands back through center and keep going to the right. Come onto the balls of your feet as you spin, do that little break dancing move until you're facing now what's technically the front of your mat, but you're standing at the back of your mat. Slide your hands underneath your feet, Padahastasana, toes towards your wrist crease. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, pull and fold. Like you're trying to slide the hands out. Spread your shoulder blades, firm your thighs. Always feel free to keep a bend in the knees. The more you roll weight forward into your toes, you'll feel that nice stretch like a massage on your palms, your wrists. Keep the crown of the head heavy for 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release that. Take your left peace sign fingers, grab your left big toe, and your right hand will grab your waist. Bend your knees a bit as you come up to standing with that left leg out in front of you. If this becomes too wobbly or you're bending your legs a lot, go ahead and grab your left knee instead. Focus more on standing up tall and getting both of those shoulder blades on that imaginary wall behind you. Take your left leg out to the left. Keep your foot flexed, whether you've got the big toe or the knee. You almost want to point the toes back a little bit. Squeeze your butt cheeks together. Maybe look off to the right for 3. Move your breath. 2. 1, bring your left leg back through center, reach your arms up and straighten your leg. Point or flex your foot, just make sure it's active. Shoulders forward for 3, 2, standing L, dive your fingertips towards the mat, left leg behind you, walk your hands forward. Crunch your left knee to your right elbow, kick it out almost like fallen triangle, but think about squaring your hips towards the floor and kind of sinking them down. You should feel a nice stretch in your outer left hip. You're still high on your right toes right now. Then you'll spin your right heel down, push your hips a little bit to the right and up for fallen triangle. Extend your top arm towards the front of your space, palm face down. And release your right hand on the mat. Hug your left knee to your nose. Step between your thumbs. Spin your right heel down and come up to a warrior 2. Line your left heel up with your right arch. Soften your shoulders. Straighten your legs, reverse triangle. Reach your left arm up. Squeeze your legs. Feel a lift through the left side of your waist, like your rib cage. Come back through center, triangle pose. Reach forward, then down. Try to lengthen both sides of your body. Pull your bottom ribs in, stack your shoulders. Less grip with your toes. Focus more on the balls of your feet and your heels, almost like you're trying to lift the arches as well. If it feels okay in your neck, you can look up or even extend your top right arm for 3, 2, and 1. Sweep it over to the back of your mat, Skandasana. You're facing the long edge of your mat. Really focus on the external rotation of your left leg. Left thigh squeeze, toes flex. Again, option to grab your left big toe and reach your right arm out to the right. Kind of bump your hips a little bit to the left. Broaden your collarbones. We'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. Hands on the mat, tip it forward, Prasarita Padottanasana. Grab your big toes or the outside edges of your feet. Firm your legs, roll your weight a little bit forward while lifting your tailbone. Notice the more you squeeze your upper thighs, lift your pelvic floor, pull your belly button in, you feel more fold, more length. Shoulders away from ears for 3, 2, 1, release grip, halfway lift, walk around to the front, right hand down, keep kind of spinning on that left heel and the right heel until you come to the outer edges of your feet. Lower your right hip towards the floor and extend your left arm to the back of your mat. So the left arm is kind of parallel with the right leg. All 10 toes are pointing to the long edge of your mat. Push your hips up and extend your left arm up and over. Feel that nice outer hip stretch. Left peace sign fingers, maybe grabbing the left big toe. Take your left leg up for Vashisthasana, side plank on the right. Right shoulder stacked over the wrist. If the big toe is too much, grab your knee or take a tree pose variation. Gaze down is going to be the easiest option. Firm down the outer edge of your right foot. Keep pushing your right hip away from the floor. Flip it over if it's available, wild thing. Or flip dog. Recently I heard someone call this rock star pose. I had never heard that before, but I kind of liked it. Take a big breath in. And exhale, flip it around. Slide your left knee up behind your left wrist, pigeon pose. Drop down to your forearms. I have noticed that when I travel, even if it's just to other places in my country, the United States, some of the lingo is a little bit different. So obviously all the poses come from Sanskrit, come from like the Yoga Sutras, and from India. However, the way people have adapted it is all these little different names. So now it got me thinking. I mean, I've noticed this other times when I travel, but what other phrases there might be for some of the poses I have. You know, I've heard Bikram yoga calls triangle and side angle a little bit of a different thing. Some people call warrior 3 airplane pose. So I'm curious if there's something you have heard or something you call a pose that I don't. So if you do, let me know in the comments. Rockstar is definitely one I had never heard, but I like it. Let's go ahead and walk those hands back. Slide your left knee more towards the center of your mat and your right knee up behind your left knee. Kick your feet away from each other and drop your butt back. Gomukhasana, cow face pose, or Ardha Gomukhasana, by extending your right leg. You could also take fire log pose, Agni Stambhasana, with your shins stacked. Either way, it's the left leg on top. Try to keep both sitting bones on the mats. Again, my preference is to grab the feet and just focus on sitting up tall. That's challenging enough for me. If you like to, you can take your left arm up, right arm down, make a bind. You can always use a towel to do that. But I just want you to go where you feel enough sensation. So it shouldn't be easy or comfortable. It should be slightly uncomfortable, and breathe there. Try to avoid rounding your back. Sit up tall. One more breath. Whatever you've got with the arms, start to let that go. I'm just going to have you unwind your legs and open up to your left. Wide leg seat. Both legs extending, feet flexed. Wiggle into your sitting bones and take a side stretch. Right hand for right foot, left arm extending. If you feel pretty flexible today, try to dive your right arm, maybe even shoulder inside of your right leg. Keep flexing your feet, especially those left toes. Try not to let them fall inwards. Inhale, come up and take it the other way. Reach your left hand for your left foot, extend your right arm up and over. If that's going well, try to dive inside. Keep your feet flexed, toes pointing up. Come back up through center, keep your legs extended, walk your hands forward. When you start to notice you round your back or your toes flop in, pause there, breathe. So some of you might get all the way down to your belly and your chest. Some of you might be stuck kind of where I am or even less, and that's okay. Go where you feel the pose, squeeze your legs, 3, 2, 1. Walk your hands back towards you. Swing your left leg to meet your right leg. Lie all the way down onto your back. Once you get there, plant your feet on the mat and arms by your side. Glue your low back to the floor. Tuck your pelvis. Lighten your toes. Drive your heels down and slightly forward as you lift your hips up. Your chest pushes ever so slightly towards the space behind you. Notice if you're flaring your ribs. Try to tuck those in. Breathe here, hold, bridge pose, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring your hips down, take a breath. Second and final back bend today. We can do bridge again if you'd like, or upward facing bow. Either way, lift your hips up. Stay there, bridge, maybe make a bind. Upward bow, hands beside your head. If you've never done it before, I definitely recommend doing this supervised in person with a teacher. Otherwise, you can push into your hands, maybe come to the top of your head first, then push into your hands and lift your entire torso off the floor. Make sure your toes point forward or a little bit in. Firm your inner thighs like they're kind of spiraling or magnetized towards each other. Push your chest towards the space behind you. Still really lighten your toes, completely relax your neck. Push your spine up and in towards your heart. And release whatever you've got. Hug your knees into your chest. Grab behind your hamstrings, rock up and down your spine. Paschimottanasana, seated fold. Legs extending, wiggle your butt cheeks back. Flex your feet and feel free to bend your knees. Reach your arms up, hinge, and fold. Option to grab your feet, ankles. You could always use a towel or a strap. Sternum forward, no need to pull your chin forward and crane your neck. Think about neutral spine, so your gaze is likely down near your shins or your knees. Slowly walk your hands back towards you, lie all the way down onto your back and bring the bottoms of your feet to touch. Let your knees fall out wide. Maybe place your hands on your inner thighs. Supta Baddha Konasana. Shoulder blades heavy, little arch of the low back. Feel it opening in your hips. Hug your knees in towards each other and towards your chest. Keep your right leg in, extend your left leg long on your mat, and then guide your right knee across your body for a twist. Look off to the right, shoulder heavy. Become aware of your right lung, right rib cage as you breathe in. And breathe out. Unwind onto your back, hug both knees into your chest. Keep your left leg in, extend your right leg long on your mat. Guide your left knee across your body for a twist. Look off to the left with your shoulder heavy. Bring your knees back through, left knee back through center. Hug both knees into your chest. Extend your legs. If there's any final pose you'd like to take before Savasana, go there now. Otherwise, allow your toes to flop out, palms to face up. You might like to make two fists, squeeze everything nice and tight, and then completely let go. This is your time to integrate your practice. Do your best to stay here with your breath. Sometimes this can be the most uncomfortable or most challenging part, so try to give this the same amount of effort you did to the bottom of the foot stretch or the eagle pose, whatever you found challenging physically in that class. Try to give as much effort and intention to Shavasana. Take a deep breath in and let it go. If you have time to stay longer, I definitely encourage you to do so. When you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers, your toes, reawaken your senses, and take a nice big stretch. Hug your knees in and roll onto your right or left side. Take a moment of contentment. Feel at peace with where you are right now. Contentment is not the same thing as being complacent. Complacency is being super comfortable where you are, not really striving for anything more or having a goal. Make your way up when you're ready. However, contentment, you can still have goals, you can be working towards something, but you feel at peace, at ease with where you are in your journey. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a full breath in and let it go. Allow that feeling of contentment to spread over your whole entire body. Thank you so much for sharing your practice and allowing me to be your guide. Namaste. Thank you guys for choosing to practice with me. I know, as always, plenty of options out there. I so appreciate you being here and choosing to get on your mat with me every week. If you haven't checked out my other videos, make sure you do. I'm sure you'll like them if you liked this. And if you did like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. I will see you guys next week. If you're interested in any of my other offerings, like an online workshop or online private lessons, I do have all the information on my website, which you can find on my channel. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.